ba ake fui lang banda chu so meme ko kanum chu menekani asina sabu manna ole ndende nindo fui landan tira chu pe o konyunu ni nyanya min kenum te ke balika kani menekanum sina timla chu ni nsina ma chinin heli komla no awana na de me atwa wala manno ba o palendo ni radio ho manno ba na chu benanda fallu jala vendo Shalom Bromski awana na hinkori manum da bale manda tengelendo me kamungan kirendo odo ajisulan amina.
Amen.
Amina.
He prayed for us in the Kisi vernacular. It is a tradition here we do every day. I'm trying to get PCK, the man who crowns it all. He says, protect our leaders. I can find him. If I find him, then I will go to him later. But Charlene Bromskin is our guest, I said to you earlier. She comes from the CPP. You know, the name Charlene emerged on the political scene to the surprise of many people. And then she being a lawyering position, her father was an erudite lawyer of this country, the late Councillor Charles Bromskin. And I know very well the people he's calling the poor man lawyer's son. And his daughter is also a lawyer. The last time I checked, her name surfaced in a very prominent form when she went to Nima County and it was being rumored that she should have been named as the running mate to Councillor to Honorable Benedict Cummins. But again, they didn't name her at the place, but it was done in Grand Bassa. And she's our guest today, and I hope that we can have a civil conversation. And we'll bring these politicians here. Once they reach out to us, we want to come to talk about our platform and talk about the policy issues. We'll bring them with no stupid. And so from the side of the CPP, we've had the Honorable Musa Belede coming here. He has come, and now we have Charlene Bromskin here. I've been knocking at the doors of Honorable Cummins, and one day I was like coming from Dubai, and I met at the airport in Ghana. He was walking. I said, "Can I help you with your luggage?" He said, "No, my brother, I will carry my own luggage." And I said, "Wow." And he said, "Reach out to Vitro Tolu Kukwe. She will make an arrangement for me to come." But it's been very difficult to get him. But it's good to have you on this day on ERBC Radio, Councillor Bromskin. How are you?
Thank you. I am great. I am honored to be here. This is a great institution, one of a long history for our country. So thank you for allowing me the opportunity to speak to the people across our great Mama Liberia.
Thank you. And Councillor Charlene Bromskin is a graduate of the Columbia University Benar College.
Yes.
And she also obtained a law degree from the Louis Adler Graham School of Law.
No.
Sorry, that your father got his from there.
Yes.
He graduated in 1973 with an academic degree and has did a small research.
Yes.
And she says, my guest, I want to just sit back for a while and listen to you to let the Liberian people know who Charlene is. Then we can go to the policy issues and talk about all the political issues concerning the CPP and SYZ. Who are you?
Thank you. Thank you. Whenever I am asked this question, who am I? It is one of the most deep philosophical questions. How do you say to your fellow human being who you are? I think the first thing I must say is I'm a Liberian woman.
Okay.
I'm a mother. I'm a Christian. I am someone who believes deeply in our country, in the expectation and the grace of our country. And I truly, truly believe that we as a people have a great destiny. That's who I am.
How was it when you were named as the running mate to Honorable Alexander Benedict Cummins? You know, the name surfaced earlier that Charlene was contesting in Bassa for the seat of a representative. And then that was being sung all around the place. But all of a sudden, your name surfaced for a vice running mate to Honorable Benedict Cummins. And many were saying, will she allow that to go because that's something that was shared already? She will get a Bassa vote because her father, a poor man lawyer, served the people so well. So it would not be a difficult thing for her to grab. But if she goes for the vice president, that's uncertain because there are so many people in the race, 22 people in the race, SYZ. How did you get to that point to make a decision between the representative seat and that of being a running mate to Benedict Cummins?
Thank you. Thank you. It's a great question. It's a question I've been asked quite often.
Oh, okay.
And let me say to you that if I had come to the people of Buchanan City as a representative aspirant to achieve wealth, to amass wealth, If I had come because I wanted a big title or because I wanted, to have the respect and the prestige of being a lawmaker, I would never have left that position. You are right, because we're almost sure to have the position.
Okay.
But the reason I went to Buchanan was because I wanted to serve. I believe that our country, as I said, has a great destiny, that we can do better,
Okay.
that the legislative body is one of the most powerful bodies, one of the most influential sectors, branches of government. And I felt that was a way to serve. However, when I was given the opportunity to take a risk, because
risk.
we all knew it was a risk. No one here, no, the election is not guaranteed for anyone. Let's
Absolutely,
be frank,
absolutely
right?
not.
The Liberian people will decide who will govern and lead them. When I was given the opportunity to take the risk, but to be able to sit at the most powerful table for the next 3 months, when this opportunity was given, to discuss issues that affect our most vulnerable citizens, and possibly be the next vice president of this country, there is no way that anyone who truly loves the country, who came to serve, would have rejected an opportunity to serve at the highest level. It was never about me.
Okay.
It has never been about me. I am not one who, when people call me honorable, the only title call me my counselor, because I've deserved,
Yeah,
I earned
you
that
work for
counselor.
it.
I work for it.
Yeah.
But honorable, all those things, they don't move me. I don't need the state's money. God has helped me. I've been able to put food on my table from
Okay.
my work that I do. I work hard. I'm respected here. So for me, it was service. I came to serve the Liberian people, and I was
Service or self.
service over self. That is exactly it. So yes, there was no way we could reject the opportunity. I don't think anyone who cares about this country would have rejected an opportunity to serve at the highest level of government.
Wow. So now, how did you do it? Did you reach out to the Bassa people to say, I've been offered this opportunity by by Honorable Benedict Cummins, and I want to go for it because you have given a lot of trust and say I should go for this one as Bassa representative, but I'm leaving it a go. Did you consult them, and what were their responses?
Thank you. So let me first start by saying my selection by Mr. Cummings was based on Bassa elders going to him. He wanted someone from Bassa and saying, even though she is the smallest sister, she is the one we believe can reconcile and bring the Bassonians together, because we have been very much divided. So it first came from the elders of Grand Bassa County.
Okay.
When it was offered to me, I went back to the district, Buchanan City, and I had numerous consultations. We had about a week to consult with all our people, because we knew time was, quickly being spent. So I went back. I consulted initially with my office staff and with some of my closest supporters. Then we consulted with the religious community. Then we consulted with, we even had a meeting at the fairground where we opened it up to every citizen from Grand Bassa, from Buchanan City. Let's talk about these. Of course, there were mixed views. Some felt very strongly that they wanted Bassa to be represented on the national ticket. Some felt, no, we don't know Mr. Cummings well, and I want to be very open. I hope you and I will have an open conversation. We don't know him well. We need representation in Buchanan. We don't want you to go to the higher level. We want you here. And the views were strong. The views were strong.
Yeah.
And
I guess sitting in that seat that day, you were like, what can I say to them?
My brother, may I call you my brother? It has never been, my life has never been easy. My life, this woman, my life has been characterized by very difficult choices and difficult decisions. People don't always know your backstory. They don't always know where you got to. I have had to make some hard decisions in my life. Since my father died, many of them have been political decisions. I've made professional and personal decisions that got me to where I am. So making hard decisions is not something that I struggle with, because I am always led by my conviction of what is right and what is wrong. And I felt it was right to take the position.
Wow. Now, let's go back to you. You have come at this stage right now to go as running mate to Alexander Benedict Cummins. Let's listen to your policy. What are the issues?
Yes.
What is your campaign laid out? Let me sit back and listen to you.
Thank you. So let me first start off by saying that Mr. Cummings is one of the most far-sighted and innovative leaders I have worked with. I always like to tell our people, whenever, whether I'm in Bassa, whether I'm in Monrovia, that I would never have accepted the position to be vice senator bearer to him if I didn't truly believe in his vision for our country. Number one. Number two, his ability to implement that vision. And number three, if those visions and steps to implement were not consistent with my own. He is equipped. He is equipped. He is ready to govern and to lead. So one of our priorities, I consistently say this to Liberian people, and I want to be very respectful of the platform that I'm on. I do understand this is a state radio.
Absolutely.
And I don't want to put you in trouble or jeopardize anything. And I'm not here to attack anyone, but I want to speak from my heart.
Okay.
And to say, I think one of the most important things that we need right now in Liberia are jobs. We need an expanded economy. Our economy has shrunk. Our economy has gotten smaller. If you look at the United States, they have two leading political parties and ideologies, the Republicans and the Democrats. The Republicans consistently preach the idea of small government and empowering the private sector. They believe in capitalism. Irrespective of, and I am, if I were to align with the Republican Party, it would certainly not be on their moral and social ideology, right? But let's talk about their platform in terms of the economy. America, even though right now they're in their own crisis, but America has been one of the strongest economies globally. Because even when democratic principles or democratic politicians came into power, they still understand that big government is not good for any country. The government and the government employees need to be reduced, and the empowerment needs to leave the hands of the government and be placed in the hands of the people. We have our young people, our battle criers.
Meaning empowering the private sector.
I'm coming to that.
The middle
I'm
class.
coming to that. Yes, I'm coming to that. Right? When I say empowering the people, I want to just digress more.
Okay.
Everybody knows when we go on any political campaign, you hear these battle criers, Amanda, Wetu. This, political cry of power to the people. When I say power to the people, we must ensure that the private sector is expanded, that there are job creation and job opportunities, that even as we are creating jobs, that we are creating human capacity to be able to fill those job positions. It is a number one priority in the Cummings-Brumsky administration. How quickly can we create job opportunities for our people, whether it is through the agriculture sector, whether it's through manufacturing, whether it is through entrepreneurs. So it is a number one priority, and that is our platform our priority. I've talked about a couple of different things in there.
Absolutely.
Right? I talk about agriculture.
Of course.
I talk about the empowering and building capacity of our human capital. Corruption. We can never expand our economy and put our empowerment in the hands of the people if the government continues to increase and there is corruption and money in the hands of a few. So these are some of the things that we intend to attack very quickly and at a very simple level, because that is what the average Liberian person needs more than anything else today.
Now, corruption, you talk about corruption, you talk about the economy, and I like the way you put about the economy. And that's just a fair discussion on that. But I want you to expand more on your platform, aside from the two issues you have just raised. Then we'll go to some specific issues.
Okay. So we've talked about the economy.
Yeah.
We've talked about agriculture. I'm giving just high level,
Of course.
We've talked about education. I talked about education and the priority of making sure that there is not just, traditional education, primary, secondary, tertiary schools, but there is vocational training, okay? We want to also talk about the healthcare sector. How do we empower the healthcare sector financially to make sure that there is preventative and proactive healthcare for all Liberians? I'm a woman. It would not be good. It would be remiss of me to not discuss issues around women empowerment, which include, very importantly, female political participation. Because no matter how much we talk about women empowerment, if we don't have women sitting in that legislature to pass laws to make sure that there is serious equity at the table, Liberia will not go forward. Not just Liberian women. There are studies and statistics that have been proven from East Africa, from Rwanda, across the globe, that when women are in power, that corruption tends to be minimized, that issues and matters such as healthcare and education tend to be prioritized. So we need to make sure we have women at the table. So these are some of our overall platforms: job creation, agriculture, training for our young people, creating capacity, female empowerment, entrepreneurial support. For our young
Let's
people.
delve into the issue of education, because then back, former President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf said the education system was a mess, and she thought she would make it better, make it best, but not much was done in that area. Now it comes to the George Bush administration, your fair assessment of it, and then how do you intend doing it differently and making education to start from being a mess to a best? How do you intend to tackle the issue of
you.
education, empowering people through vocational education? Because I was listening, the vice president of Liberia this morning talked about TV education, for example. Over 200 persons who have been sent abroad will coming back to involve themselves in educating people who have been in the TV sector. So how does the Cummins, Bronskin's administration intend to improve education? What is on the front burner?
Thank you. We will talk about education, but I want to address what the vice president said. So even if 200 people have been sent abroad for technical vocational training, they will come back to Liberia and they will experience the most extreme frustration because there are no jobs
Why?
here.
How?
There are no jobs. Let's just be, and this is not being critical of her, right? This is just having an honest discussion. This is where frustration comes. There is no lack of brilliance from Liberian people, especially young people. They will go abroad. They will get trained. They will understand what it means to live a good life. They will understand what it means to be able to receive opportunities based on merit. They will come back to Liberia, and everything they have learned, they will not be able to exercise or execute because we do not have an economy here that can even compete with the small government jobs that they're giving out. So I just wanted to address
Yes,
that.
but the
let
point
me-
of correction is those who have been sent there
Okay.
have been on government salary.
Okay.
They were recruited from the government sector,
Okay.
signed an MOU with the government that will go
Uh-huh.
and train to come back and stay in the classroom for this X amount of years. So they already have a job sitting for them.
Okay, they stay in the classroom for X amount of years. Is that what you
Of
said?
course.
So these are educational training, people who have been trained in the educational sector, right? Is this what you're saying?
Absolutely.
Once again, this goes back to my idea and my argument of big government.
Okay.
How do we empower teachers outside of government? How do we make sure that young people who are trained abroad, if they want to be teachers, if they want to be trainers of teachers, that they come back and there are opportunities outside of government? My brother, I know what it feels. And the reason why I say we need to shrink government is because, unfortunately for us in Africa, half of the times, 90% of the time, if you are not affiliated or associated with a certain political institution, you will not get government job. So we need to shrink the government and give the power to the people is what I'm still talking about. So even if the people go abroad, they come, they're working for government, they make somebody vest or they decide they're not wearing somebody's party t-shirt. Let me just be frank, it is a problem for them. Let's be fair. Even if the Cummings-Brumsky administration, when we come into power, it should be our goal, and I have consistently said it, Mr. Cummings has said it, not to increase and expand the government, but to hand the power over to the people.
Meaning that if you were to take power tomorrow and with the size of government as it is, you want to reduce the workforce.
What we want
Have
to do,
efficient workforce. And don't you think you drive the anger of the people against you?
no,
Because
but
they
you
are
just said
employed?
that. You just said that I would want to reduce the workforce. But let me tell you what I want to do. We want to expand the private sector. We're not going to just come in and say we're cutting government jobs.
Expansion in terms of what?
In-
What are the ingredients
Okay,
there?
thank you. So we're talking about education, but now we're going to shift to the economy. I didn't finish talking about education, but that's okay. Let's talk about the economy. How do we, and Liberians who are listening in Senekoli, in Lofa, in Grand Bassa Kante, in River G, in Grand Cru, I want you to hear me today. You all need jobs more than anything else. How do we intend to bring jobs? Number one, the first thing is I said repeatedly, the government should not be the one employing most people. We have to make sure Liberian entrepreneurs are empowered. Mr. Cummings intends to do that within the first 100 days. We have talked about providing a $20 million entrepreneurial fund. But before we even touch on that, I want to touch on something that I think is so critical, and that is foreign investment. We live in an ever increasing global community where every country is becoming more interdependent and dependent on other countries, right? We need more investors to come in Liberia. When you see the Ivory Coast, when you see Ghana, when you see Nigeria, these countries are not ascending to where they are ascending or have ascended to simply because they've done it on their own. They have strong bilateral partnerships with foreign companies. Mr. Cummings, a Cummings-Brumsky administration intends to have a foreign policy that is economically friendly to Liberia. We want to make sure we attract industries in Liberia to create more jobs. And when these foreign companies come into Liberia, we want to make sure that whatever agreements the government is signing with them, whether it is a concession agreement or whatever agreement they're signing, PPPs, whatever it is, that the Liberian workers are prioritized, that the promises these concession companies make to counties, development fund, etc., that they are actually implemented and are enforced. We will bring foreign companies in. Liberia must not be seen as a joke. Liberia must not be seen as a pariah state. Foreign companies must see us as formidable partners who, when they come, they will get their money that they invest in, but we will also hold them accountable. We will not be corrupt. When companies like large M&Es, multinational enterprises, see that Liberia has a place of true investment where they too, as a company, can reap benefits, they will come here. They will create jobs. It brings more money into the economy. So number one, we talk about the importance of foreign investments. I do not know. I maybe you know something. I don't know. I don't know one large investor, respected investor, that has come to Liberia in the past 6 years, that has not come to exploit us, but really come to partner with us with mutual respect. So it's something.
And the existing ones are there. The partnership is still good.
The existing ones are there. Some would argue the partnerships are good. Some would argue that there has been a lot of failures on the part of some of these companies. Let's talk about Selamittal. I was running in Buchanan City. There were many issues that AML had not lived up to its responsibility within its concession agreement. But we don't, I'm not here to attack our partners that are here. But what I am saying to the Liberian people, we need to hold them more accountable. It is the Liberian people's property. It's Liberian people's land that they are exploiting, and we must make sure that Liberia receives benefits.
Now, Councillor Brumskin, your standard bearer has been in the corporate world for so many years. He was with Coca-Cola around the world, and then he did a lot of extreme good jobs that has been told by the Liberian people. He was there helping Liberian people in this country. I saw a newspaper from 91, I don't know, one of the Inquirer newspapers saying that he was giving the hospital in Buchanan some assistance SYC. Now, has he started talking, or have you started talking to these investors abroad? Because one way to do it is now you start talking now, that when you get it tomorrow, it'll not be a difficult thing to bring them here. So have you started talking to investors, bigger investors you talk about, that will come to the country if Jallah Grayfield is vice president for Liberia and Cummings sits at the top?
Absolutely. Mr. Cummings has very many relationships, I should say, with foreign companies, with foreign investors, and with Liberians abroad. We have relationships and partnerships with Liberians who are very well-to-do. It is not right to call them out here, but who have multi-million-dollar businesses and establishments and companies in the U.S. Mr. Cummings has relationships, and it is a shame that there are so many regional and Liberians who live in the diaspora who have the capacity to invest multi-millions of dollars, but they don't feel confident in doing the investment now. I can tell you with
They will feel more
certainty.
confident under your administration.
Absolutely. These people have had they've had long-standing relationships with Mr. Cummings. Mr. Cummings has had long-standing relationships with some of the wealthiest individuals and some of the most high-powered administrators of companies in South Africa, in Kenya, in Nigeria, in the U.S., via his former stint at Coca-Cola Global, as you discussed. We should be, first of all, we should be courting and wooing our own to come back and invest in this country. He has the capacity, he has the relationships, the conversations have started, and I'm confident that if we were elected, you will see the dawning of a new day of Liberia where there will be substantial investments coming into this country.
Someone outside may ask, Councillor Bromsky, why do you want to wait until you get there? Now is the time. If you are criticizing the Georgia government, is not doing much in terms of attracting investors.
Yeah.
The time is now to start engaging them to come to Liberia, so that when you get there, when the people see what you've done, and they say it is Councillor Bromskin and Mr. Cummings who brought these people here, maybe 5-6 companies around the world coming to Liberia to invest, and that is being told in Liberian media. Your election might be even easier than waiting to say, I want to get there before I bring them on.
So let me answer the question, and it's a very easy question to answer.
Okay.
We have begun the wooing. The people are not confident in the current government. They're not going to come here. They're not going to come here. I didn't want to say it this way. I didn't want to be so blunt. They will not come here with what they have seen, with the level of corruption, with sanctioned employee and government officials. I mean,
even though that is not just proven in the company.
I agree, and let me be very clear.
I
agree. I want you to know that. I want you to know I agree 100%. And I'm one of those people who I do not believe if the U.S. has sanctioned our government officials, that we should now say that they are certainly corrupt. That's my position, because I am a lawyer and I understand Liberia, we are a sovereign nation. We should make our own adjudications of guilt. Corruption is a crime. We should make our own adjudication. However, we also, what I'm saying to you is that the foreign partners, whether or not we, as Liberians, say so and so people have sanctioned and they are, we adjudicate them corrupt, you're asking me to speak from the lens of foreign investors. How do they feel about it? This is not Charlene Bromskin speaking. I don't believe that simply because America has said these people are corrupt, then everybody must jump and say they are corrupt.
So you think just by that indictment, you think that those who want to invest in Liberia will not want to come because of just that perception that these officials of the government were corrupt.
Let me answer that question.
Okay.
I will answer it in multiple ways. Number one, yes. Many people will be concerned about the landscape, the investment climate here in Liberia, because they know that high-ranking officials of government have been deemed corrupt by the U.S., which is one of the most listened to voices, state actors in the globe. But it's not just them. It is not just the three who were sanctioned. Let me be very clear. I'm not coming here to talk just about those three individuals. They're not very important to this conversation. We're talking about why investors don't want to come to our country, why investors have not come over the past 6 years, and what a Cummings-Bromsky administration can do to ensure investors. I started off by saying I'm not here to come to attack the CDC government. That's not my purpose. My purpose here is to talk about what the Cummings-Bromsky administration will do for Liberia. It will bring jobs. We will court, we will pursue, and we will ensure investors in our country. Our people deserve it. It happened before. It can happen again. It happened in Ghana. It can happen in Liberia. It happened in Sierra Leone. It can happen here.
How many jobs do you want to create in the first 30 days or 100 days of your administration?
So it would be disingenuous for me to say we'll create 100,000 jobs.
Okay.
And that's with an absolute period.
Others are putting number to theirs.
They are, and because these are politicians as usuals. They will come and say anything they want to say.
You are also a politician.
Not as usual. There's a difference.
You are emerging politician.
No, but I think the phrase I said, politicians as usual.
Yes,
right? So I'm characterizing the same old politicians. They have been in office for
and you bring a different idea.
We're bringing different perspective, and we want to be honest with our people. So our goal, Mr. Cummings has talked about creating 100,000 jobs within the first 1 year. This is something that we will pursue and we will endeavor to do. I've talked about how we intend to do it. I've talked about even internally, not just foreign investors, but how do we begin now to actually invest in agriculture? It's something that we have been hearing for years. I'm of a different generation of politicians. We understood. I was born in the 70s. I grew up in the 80s when there was this idea of getting back to the soil. The Liberian people own their own. The Civil War took us back centuries. And Liberians no longer have the sense of pride and sense of ability to work. I think that they did. We don't believe that we can do it. We must start to instill a sense of hope in our people that we can actually grow our own commodities here, that we can grow rice, we can grow pepper, we can grow plantain, we're growing cassava. Our in Bassa 2 days ago, it's right on the road. One of my had her little pineapple and farm. You know, and it was so beautiful to see that. We can do it. But our people need help. They need help. The government should not be bigger. The government should be more effective. What is this current administration doing with respect to increasing and improving agricultural empowerment for our farmers? We have so many young people right now who are farming. How is the government helping these young people to export their produce?
One way the government say it has done is that farm to market roads being created by the government, paved roads in some parts of Liberia or Nima County, for example. Facedown River G can boast of a road. And I listened to the Minister of Agriculture giving seedings to Liberians farmers, giving handouts to them to expand it. And she's thinking that the idea of importing food to Liberia every year is not enough. But they want to empower the Liberian people who are farmers by creating the environment for them.
That's a good talk. It's good for them to say it. How many Liberians do we see having improved? How many farmers?
Perhaps you've not checked.
Oh, we certainly have checked. But not only have we not checked, everybody, most Liberians look around and we see that the economy hasn't improved. The level of suffering has increased. Let's just be frank, my brother.
You're very sure that suffering has increased?
It's not an issue of I'm being very sure. Jallah, we lay down at night, all of us, those who have and those who have not. And we know Liberia is not where it should be. We know Liberia is not where it should be. How many farmers do we hear? When the last time you spoke to farmers in Grand Bassa, in Lofa, who are saying, look what we've done. Look what we are exporting. Look how we are feeding not just our families, how we're feeding our county. Which county right now can boast of producing agriculture to feed most of the markets in that particular county? Which county can talk about their sons and daughters who have been able to not just grow produce, but who now, guess what? They're manufacturing and exporting. We keep hearing the same thing, the same talk over and over again, but we're not seeing the results. They're not trickling down to the average Liberian. I'm not here to point fingers. I'm here to say, how can we find solutions?
Okay.
Let's stop playing politics with people's lives. I'm not here to attack the government. I will say this over and over again, but we need to be honest with ourselves. We are not where we should be. We can go further. We talk about farm to market roads. I don't know about which roads you're talking about. Maybe 1 or 2 roads. I know that Mr. Cummings went to Maryland a couple of weeks ago, and Mr. Cummings had to drive to Ivory Coast to reach some of the
That's been an
southeast.
old age problem, and our government has been doing well to ensure that those roads are done. And I'm told that the finances, the government has secured finances to do the road to Maryland.
Okay, so once again, we've been hearing the same story. Everybody tell you a story. We want action. We want action.
Immediate action.
Let me tell you something.
Immediate action.
Not immediate. It's not been immediate.
But
It's been
that's
6
a
years.
process. That's a
It's
process.
been 6 years. So what immediate? Will take another 6 years.
You also talk about the issue of funding and issue of partners coming in. So it takes a time for partners to agree, say, I would do this one at this point, and they're coming
Funding
in.
is not coming in because we're not showing the partners that we are a serious state. Corruption is high. Money is wasted. We had the U.S. ambassador.
What statistic do you have that corruption is high?
Wait a minute. How does one quantify that corruption is high? We see what's happening all over.
Like
Let me explain now. Let me explain.
No,
So the U.S. ambassador, for instance, for me, I'm a Liberian. I like to be Liberian.
Yeah,
I'm
I
a
know.
nationalistic. I don't believe that the U.S. is so much greater than us. I don't believe Nigeria is greater than us. I'm a proud Liberian. Do you know how embarrassed I was as a Liberian woman and mother for the U.S. ambassador to shame us and to say that funds that have been sent from the U.S. tax-paying dollars have not been sent to the county hospitals in counties? How did that make us look? We should be ashamed of ourselves. Nobody here to play. We're not playing political game. I will say it again. I'm not here to attack, but everyone must say corruption is a problem. We must address it. We have not done well. We can do better.
Okay.
If we are and that's why I don't like to have political, all us attacking the government. Because if you attack the government, then some of the people who want to come out, from some of the good-hearted people in the government who want to come out and say, look, we haven't done well. We can do better. Work with us. They'll be scared to say it.
Councillor Charlie Bromskin is my guest on the Bumper Show on ERBC Radio. Those of you following us online, please share the video so that others can participate. I will go to some political issues right now, but before going to the political aspect of it, I want to ask, you made on the section about the sanctioned officials, right? And that's it's an open secret that they were sanctioned by the U.S. government for alleged corruption. But your CPP was also accused by Liberians. And I listened to Mr. Wisner when he appeared on the OK Money Rush one morning after it was reported that you spent a whooping $180,000 to lobby for sanctions on our country. And then it was as a result of lobbying with the American government or whosoever that those people were sanctioned because the American government could not just put sanctions on the entire government. And that was a result of your action, paying $180,000, whooping $1,000 to lobby for a sanction on the country against Mangiwe and other people.
I think you and I both know that's inaccurate. It's not true. It is not true. The U.S. government, I think, is much bigger than 180,000, whatever the amount is.
But there were people you're talking with to lobby with the government, State Department, other people. That's what let me tell you something.
The U.S. maybe got corruption, but the U.S. not coming to compromise the State Department, the reputation of the State Department, to come and sanction Liberian employees because somebody paid them, say a lobbying firm. It didn't even make sense, $180,000.
What is the relationship with Mr. Allen White, for example?
Who is that? The man who, I don't know, I've never met him before.
I want to say you, I'm talking about the CPP, your boss.
I've never met him before. I don't know anything about Mr. Allen White, but I think we need to be careful how we respond to allegations. I think you started off by saying the Liberian people said, right? And the Liberian people say plenty things. You know, when people want, when they want to touch you,
so you be lying.
when we want to touch you, we say people say, the people say. But you asked a question. You started off by talking about the sanctioned government officials, and I was very clear that I do not think that we need, as Liberians, can make a definitive, conclusion that these people were corrupt because the court of law here in Liberia has not made them, right?
Okay.
I said that this was a foreign judgment that was made. So now we are saying the Liberian people say CPP did so and so thing. No court of law in Liberia, no formal allegations from the government or anywhere else has claimed that CPP was involved in any sanctioning of any government officials, And I can say to you, as from where I sit as a vice senator bearer, we had no part in this. These were the same people who said Mr. Cummings had fingered a document. To come to find out later, it was a complete lie.
But that came from your cycle.
Who came from which side?
The cycle of 4 political parties.
But who was prosecuting it? It was the government of Liberia who prosecuted it. But the bottom line
made the
is,
allegation, Council?
But the bottom line is he was acquitted. He was found not guilty. Listen to the point I'm making.
Okay.
Whether or not the allegations came, it was in a court of law.
In the court
right?
of law.
It was in a court of law.
Exonerated him.
Completely exonerated
so
him.
what I'm saying is that that allegation did not come from the Liberian people.
It doesn't matter where it came
from your cycle of 4 parties where Mr. Bender, you felt that his signature was fingered.
That is immaterial. That's immaterial to what we're talking about. What we're talking about is not where they came from. We're talking about what was the ultimate conclusion, right? So we're saying we agreed the sanctioned officials from Liberia, they have not been adjudicated guilty by Liberia, right? We're saying the same thing with Mr. Cummings, right?
Do you think they can do you think it's good for the American government to press charges against them so they can serve their day in court if they are acquitted or whatsoever?
For the American government or Liberian government?
Who prosecutes them?
No,
because
but
the evidence,
I want to know your question. I want to understand your question.
Because it's America that is saying these guys are corrupt. They have placed this burden on their heads. So they have the evidence against them. The Liberian government doesn't have. So I'm saying, whosoever prosecutes them, do you think it's good for them to have that day in court?
Do you think it's good for them to have the day in court?
Absolutely, because if I'm accused of being a rogue and I'm not prosecuted, I think that burden is on my head.
So you think the Liberian government should prosecute them?
I'm not saying
Now
that.
you're saying,
I'm
you're
saying,
saying that they should have the day
you
in
are the
court.
lawyer. You are the lawyer. So
I'm not talking about these people. I came to talk about.
I want to put that into your court because you are the lawyer.
No, you just said something that's very good on your part.
Yeah.
They should have their day in court.
Of course.
But in order for them to have
But
the
who
day in
also
court,
prosecutes them?
then they have to be prosecuted now. So it will have to be prosecuted in the Liberian court. That is not my position. My position here consistently has been, let's talk about how we move our country forward. I said, quite frankly, I'm not here to attack or address anything that has happened with these sanctioned officials from the U.S. The reason that came up is because we were having a discussion about foreign investors.
Absolutely.
And why the U.S. or other states don't feel confident in investing in Liberia. Now, I also want to say to you that we have to be careful how we as Liberians present ourselves. We must distance ourselves from any perceived corrupt acts. The government should distance itself from perceived corrupt acts and actors. Liberians need to feel confidence in their government. They need to know. Let me tell you something. What the Liberian people need more than anything, they need to know that the president of Liberia, whether it's Mr. Alexander Cummings or His Excellency George Manawiya, those two men will always put the Liberian people as priority over any of the government officials. I can tell you, Mr. Cummings, if Mr. Cummings is elected as president and there are allegations of impropriety against his vice president, Councillor Charlene Bromskin, he will do everything he can to take the side of the Liberian people, even if it means quickly and swiftly investigating me and prosecuting me and dismissing me from the pleasure to serve under him. Liberians must have confidence in their leaders, that they put the people before party issue, that they put the people before government issue, that they put the interests of the people before their own family. My father, the late Councillor Bromskin, will always say, if my daughter brought in goods and didn't pay taxes at the free port, and I found out, she would be the first one that I would discipline nationally. That's how he felt even about his family.
Now, we'll open the phone lines shortly for you to interact with the Liberian people. Even if you have to add 5 or 10 more minutes to your time, I will do so.
Thank you.
But Councillor Bromskin, what is the relationship currently with the other members of the Brookaway CPP members? I know you go into election. Many people think that you as a unit cannot go to election and win. George, we are a populist president. You have the Joseph Boakai people on the other side. You are on the other side. And you were together before.
Yes.
What is it like? Is there any lit conversation coming up for a merger, burning down all the barrels, and bar blocks, and reuniting your forces against the ruling establishment?
Thank you. That's a great question. I don't think there are current conversations about mergers at this stage. It's very late, but I can tell you that I've had conversations with Ben Ayure, the political leader of ALP. I call him Uncle Ben because he's we have that.
Even though he sued your standard bearer.
Yes, he was one of the state sued the standard bearer. It was the state that prosecuted. It was not Ben Ayure. It was Cephas.
Serena Cephas.
Cephas, yes, it was the former Solicitor General. So it wasn't Ayure. It was the government of Liberia who did it. However,
you mean the government sued him?
This was a
or
criminal.
Prosecuted?
It was you used the word sued. And so I thought you were referring to the prosecution. That's what you were
referring to. I was like referring to Ben because that noise came from the CPP that this document has been fingered.
Yes.
And then he was alleging, Mr. Yuri was alleging that it was Cummings who did it.
Yes.
So the state has to come in, right?
But you understand that it is the state that prosecutes. It is not the individual.
I know that.
So yeah, I'm saying that it wasn't Yuri who did the actual prosecution, right? So I've had conversations with him. We, obviously the Unity Party, Mr. Cummings and I have relationships with the standard bearer and the vice standard bearer of the Unity Party. Liberty Party obviously is in partnership with the ANC. So I think this, what we call opposition bloc, is intact. I just want to say for the record, some people will not like this, what I'm coming to say, but it's our truth. This idea of opposition bloc, opposition, is not something that I buy into.
Okay.
I think that we should be
What do you buy into?
We should be less concerned. I have consistently said this. The position of the opposition should not be work together to remove President Weah. No. The opposition should show to the Liberian people that they are capable of serving and leading the people.
Okay.
It should not be we have to move.
That's a good
person, we have-
mentality.
Absolutely. The people and my brother, we gotta do it different. Oh. That different politician coming up now.
A
We
new
can't-
breed of
A
politician.
new breed.
Not an old politician.
Not the old people
Who
now.
are doing it on the old way.
They're doing it oh well. We care about the people. It's not about us. The beauty of this generation of Liberian politicians is that we have our own. We come here to make money.
Okay.
We come here for name. We're coming prepared to serve.
Okay. Let me ask you the final question, Council. Now, we go to election. All eyes are on the George we are CDC. They own Alexander Benedict Cummings' CPP. They own Joseph Boakai, and then on later the name of Gonglo comes in. Why, in a worst case scenario, you go to election and you cannot win on the first ballot, and you have to make a decision as to who you support in the second round? Where do you stand? Stand and look back to the CPP and to the other opposition party, or you stay alone and act like your father and advise Mr. Cummings, say, don't go anywhere. Let the people go support who they want to support, because your father did it before, and that was a wisdom he exercised, man, and thought at the time. So where do you go? Stay alone, stay you refrain for everything, or you support somebody?
Thank you. And I'm happy. I like the way you termed it, because I will be advising the standard bearer. Obviously, this would not be my decision.
Okay.
But I want you to know how the standard bearer and myself, we believe in a collaborative, democratic effort. So it would not just be us making the decision. It will also be our partisans who will be making the decision. But I can tell you that I would not advise him to be quiet. I think that we should definitely support as an institution. I think we should have a very meaningful role, if we are not in the second round, in determining who the next president of Liberia will be. I intend to make sure that I play a role in that, but I believe it's Mr. Cummings. When I tell you, Jallah, what we are seeing now in the communities, when I am in Bassa, people, first of all, vast majority of people are not decided. When you hear all of this noise that's happening on the radio, on social media, all of that one, these are the few, social media politicians and radio politicians who are being paid by political institutions to go on radio, to go on social media to make noise. The vast majority of Liberians are not on Facebook talking politics. They're not on the radio. They're not calling in.
They are the silent listeners.
They are the silent listeners. They are the people who care about the bread and butter issues. They are people who want to understand where they will be getting their daily bread from tomorrow. What's going to happen in 6 years? Will they die with Liberia in poverty? Liberia right now is, I think somebody said the other day, the dirtiest country in West Africa. I don't know if it's true or not, right? We don't know if this is necessarily true. We know that I think right now we're the 10th poorest country. There will be people who will die never having seen Liberia reach its fullest potential. I think Liberians want to know the next 6 years, especially the elderly people, what will happen in the next 6 years? These are the questions they are going to be asking.
Thank you. Councillor Charlie Bromskin is my guest on the Bumper Show on ELBC Radio 99.9 and other frequencies across Liberia. I will take calls for 15 minutes or 12 minutes, and I allow her to come back to answer the question. If the police deputy director is around, I'll ask him for just 10 minutes of his time so that the council can respond to this question. A lot of things are happening. We need to have them discussed. That's why I said I will ask him for 10 minutes. Now the numbers are 080-514-096, 070-560-560. These are the two numbers to call me in, 080-514-096, 080-514-096, 070-560-560 are the two numbers to call right now if you wish to participate on the Bumper Show here. Let me take the first caller here. Hello, welcome. You are on the Bumper Show. Let's hear you. You have 15 seconds.
Yeah, good afternoon, Jallah. Let me say good afternoon to the fast girl of ANC. This is my sister, my body for two committee the afternoon.
Okay.
I should commend the female for her post taking in the national politics. But let me say this. Jallah will not stay there for all of people to lobby to station government official. At least if that's why you use it to go lobby to station government official, you should lobby for the Nagway people.
She said they never lobby for sanction against anyone.
Jallah, we know we not need scientists to tell all our women's lobby. You should have lobby for the Nigerian people, or use that money that you do your lobby, state power with. Use that money to see how bad you can empower the women to bring Marco and Lee and loot within this.
Okay, thank you, Mercy. Thank you, Mercy. Your time is up. We don't have much time. We have to take some more calls from other places. Hello, welcome. You live. You are on the Bumper Show. Let's hear you. Hello. Hello, caller, are you there? Oh, that caller is not ready. Let me take this one friend here. Hello, welcome. You are on the bumper show. Let's hear you.
Yeah, Vox Populi. I'm a Podolfo. We are calling from district number 14.
Okay.
In the Pisa, Gibraltar.
Okay.
Firstly, I must applaud the CSD for payment deliberation. And I just want to urge every Labuan to adhere to this court to face our country. But I have a question to ask the CSD.
Mm-hmm.
So, we all know that our country is challenged, especially all sectors of our country is very, very challenging. So the question is, what are those specific issues or challenges that should plan to tackle? They should be elected as.
Okay. Thank you. You made your point. Others have to come in. Hello, welcome. You on the bumper show.
Good evening.
Good evening. Welcome. Reduce the monitor. Let's hear you.
This is Caluminous Michelle Kangad. I'm calling you from Buchanan.
Welcome from Buchanan. Let's hear
I
you.
just want to say thank you to the CPP Vice Senator Bureau and the next Vice President of the Republic of Liberia. That all that you are saying is true. And this is why Grand Basso and the Basso land in the Republic of Liberia, we are resort to vote Mr. Elizabeth Benedict Cummings and Kasachanin Bronski for total emancipation of our country.
You mean the entire Bassa people?
Have not been involved in out of corruption. They always been using the Amigo resources to take on the Liberia and
all right.
Out here to transform our country.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. 080514096 0560560 are the numbers to call me. Hello, welcome. Hello. What is going on with that line? Hello? Oh, let me try again. Hello, welcome. You live? Let's hear you. This phone landline is giving some problem. I don't know what's going on. Let me take this one from here. Let me take this caller from here. Hello, welcome. You on the bumper show. What's the name? Is that Mark Bemeni calling from Buchanan, Grand Bassa?
This is Mark Bemeni calling from Buchanan, Grand Bassa, President one of Paul County Fund.
Yeah, Bassa sister, yo.
Oh, I said that my sister, man. Let me just, how are you, Mama?
Mwe.
Hey, what's up? I say thank you for the deliberation. Thank you.
Thank you, Baba.
The only thing we are here for you, but you got to wait more for us. I think the next time we are showing you, want more abridged.
Hey, Baba, brother. Okay.
Mark Bemeni is even way small. Mark Bemeni. I need to have one technician come here to check this line because actually it's not going through the phone line, the landline rather. Hello? Yes, welcome. Let me take you from this. Yeah, go ahead. Let's hear you.
Thank you very much. My name is Michelle Potua, and I'm calling from Grand Bassa County.
Okay.
To be success.
Mm-hmm.
That means first, let's say many thanks and appreciation to the well-experienced, qualified counselor, a person who is about to take the mantle of authority and comes October 10th. And actually, the Broskin and the Kumis ticket is the best ticket. Now, as we speak to you, the counselor is the person who will unify Liberians.
So Liberians are not unified as we speak? They are not unified?
Of course. Can you imagine? In a period of 2 months, the counselor, even in Grand Bassa County, they are taking over the entire country. Can you imagine? If we have such a counselor in our midst, everything, we know that Bassa will person that you are going to take and not go.
Thank you. As you speak, go ahead and learn that quickly. Hello? Oh, he gone off. Let me take a call from this line. The landline is not working. It's working not very perfectly. Hello, welcome.
Yes, this is Benito Nia speaking from Grand Bassa County.
Grand Bassa is taking over the show today. Is that because your Bassa is there, yeah?
Yes. Now, so we have to make our impact to the show.
Okay, let's hear you.
Okay, I really want to ask the counselor in studio that is afternoon. What are some of the things they have done for the Liberian people before today? They come into us, they want power from us. So I really want to tell me what they have done for us in this nation.
Thank you so very kindly. 08051. Let me try again and see. Hello? Hello? Are you there? Let me go here and take this caller. Hello, welcome. You live. You on the bumper show? I'm okay, sir. What's your name? Where do you call from?
Yeah, I'm there.
Yeah, what is your name, sir?
I'm Francis Joseph from Fuya, District, Lupa County.
Fuya in Lofa County. Welcome. You have 15 seconds. Make your case.
Thank you so much, Jallah. I want to applaud my sister in studio, and my point has to do with his father who having a good relationship here, who is reaching for Lakbata.
Yeah.
And now, majority of the young people that are supporting Jury for Lakbata, they are supporting CDC. So, what is the relationship between the lady and the current establishment CDC?
No, but the woman is a vice senator to Councillor Bromsky, so there's no relationship. Not council to Honorable Kumis, rather. So
now,
they in opposition.
She must come in for that here indeed her father did explain well. He got family here, he got friend here. But for us that in Foya, actually we are supporting CDC. Thank you so much for the show.
Okay, thank you so very kindly. Let me see this call. This guy is calling on the WhatsApp line for what's I don't know. Hello, welcome. You want to participate on the show?
Hello.
You want to participate?
Hello.
Do you want to talk on the show?
Hello.
Hello, you live. I'm hearing you. Please go ahead. Where do you call from? What's your name?
Hello.
Hey, my friend, you live. You calling the WhatsApp number. I'm saying hello, welcome. You're on the show. Go ahead. Oh, I can't continue with this caller. Hello, welcome. Let me hear from this caller. Hello, welcome.
Yeah. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, welcome. How are you? What's your name? Where do you call from?
Oh, thank you very much. This is Vafle G. Sherry from Lofa United Blind Association of Liberia. I live in Jama City, Lofa County.
How is Benjamin? Is it raining there or sun shining there?
Yeah, it's raining. It's raining in Jama.
Okay.
But I want to appreciate our mother in studio.
Mm-hmm.
And also appreciate the leadership of the stations, and that is. But for my question is, what is your intentions to see how best the disability people will live in better life in Liberia? Because in Lofa County here, the blind are living in the water. Almost 2 weeks now.
Is it your office that got broken down by the storm?
Yes, the water is coming from under the ground, and the black people living there. So I'm making this appeal to the Home Office, which is the Senate, the dealership of the NC, so that it could help us in this process, because the water is coming from under the ground.
Okay.
The building, the blind are living in the building.
Okay.
In the water.
Thank you, Vavle. If she deems it necessary, I can get a number to her later.
Yes.
But I think it's a concern. It's no politics about it. Everybody needs to get involved with it.
Yes.
For blind people to be living somewhere, water coming from the ground. I've been hearing the SOS call this few times. Let me try this guy again. He's calling back on the WhatsApp number. I don't know where he calling from. Okay, let me take this caller from here. Oh, he gone off. Let me try this line again. Hello? Oh, this line is having some issues, so I don't know. I will just let it go. Good afternoon.
Hello.
Yes, you are on the Bumper Show.
Yeah. How you doing?
I'm okay, so what is your name? Where do you call from?
My name is Hilary M. Samula, and I'm phoning from the CPP headquarters.
Okay, let's hear you. Reduce that monitor now, Hillary.
So our VP has set it up. We now resolve to support the FASER team. It's been too long our country is in the dark, got no development. These two individuals bring a lot to the table. So we have resolved, and we are going to vote them count authority.
Okay, thank you so very much. Let me try this guy again on the WhatsApp number. He keeps calling every time I pick the phone. I'm not getting him. Hello, are you there? Hello? Oh, hello?
I'm A-DOS. We are calling from district number 11.
All right, go ahead.
And I must appreciate here the ambassador for the collaborating political party and you to the host. So, Librarians are now resolved to elect the fixture team. So we just want all us to embrace the ticket, because the ticket comes with a lot. These are people with integrity, corruption free, and they are ready to put their feet to the fire to see our best to face this country. And one call, asking for some of the contribution that our Canada made. Unfortunately, that some of those guys are not reading or are not.
No, you are not the one that asked that question to be asking the men not reading. I beg you. They didn't ask that question. The woman that asked the woman here. and she will answer the question against the man reading. The man with a concern there. Hello, welcome. Let me hear you.
Yeah.
Hello, welcome. Please go ahead. You're the second to the last caller. Hello? Hello?
Yeah, hello.
Please go ahead. What's your name?
Okay, sorry. I'm Wisa Marvelous from Habel.
Let me hear you from Habel.
Thank you. I want to say many thanks to the counselor. But I have a few concerns. As you were explaining, what really got in my ear is that Mr. Comey had a lot of business friends around the world. Who is waiting until she become president? Why is he not president? How we have a Nigerian?
Okay.
Wait, can you repeat the question? Did you understand the question? I didn't really-
He said that he has a lot of business people. Why he's not happy now? When you want to be president for it, right?
Yeah. So I mean, how is that with me to his interest for when you help Nigeria?
Okay. Thank you so very kindly. I think I will call it on a call segment for the next 10 minutes, and the counselor can just answer those questions. You know, I can come up with some final question as he leaves the office this afternoon.
Okay.
Councillor Bromson, you listen to the callers on the other side.
Thank you. So let me say a big thank you to each and every one of the callers. I'd like to address each of these individually because people take their time out to call. So it's important with these questions. So to my sister, Mercy Sama from Do community. So Mama, we are women. And you said that Mr. Cummings should have used money to give loans to women. So my sister, we can't play with each other because we understand the position and the situation of women in the country. So let me be very honest with you. And I want you to hear me. If you're sincere about women, then I your sister here. I'm the woman candidate for the CPP. Mr. Cummings did not pay anybody to sanction government officials. Mercy, hear me, oh. Don't say they say. I'm telling you, he did not do it. It is a rumor. It is a lie. Liberian people can lie. Liberian people, and I have to address this here. Mercy, Liberian people say Mr. Cummings is gay. I want people in every county listening to ELBC. It is a lie. It is not true. When Liberian people are ready to toss something, when they see something good coming, they will lie. Mr. Cummings is not gay. The man is married with 2 children, 5 grandchildren. His father was a pastor. When I go into pastor, some of the old pastor woman can say, oh, they say when Mr. Cummings become president, he will let our son, he will pass law where our children, men will love to their friend man, woman will love to their friend woman. Mama, you hear me? It's not true, yeah? That lie the people have made against the man. So Mercy, I am saying to you now, you my sister, Mr. Cummings did not pay anyone. It is a lie, and the American government does not work like that, ma. Now 180,000 US that will make American government can't sanction Liberian government. It don't work like that. Now, district number 14 called. He said specific issues. What are some specific issues that we will address? I've said our priorities: jobs, expanding the economy. The entire show, if you can listen to it again, we listed everything that would be our issues, our priorities: jobs, agriculture, etc. To Michelle Columnus Kanga, who called from Grand Bassa County, thank you. So Mike Bemini, Mike, my Bassa brother, Baba, where you also? You call here, you say me and you the same, then you say my Wismore. Wismore. We waiting our turn now, Baba. I can say MRT, our thing in Bassa. Yes, so you must know now. We can try small, we can talk it. Any both I can speak the dialect. Anyway, we'll leave that one. Mike, but anyway, thank you. It's a joke. Michelle Conto called from Grand Bassa. Many people called from Grand Bassa. One Benito called and said, what are some of the things that we have done? You know, I have learned when I first got into politics, I used to say, what kind of question is yes so? Because this is not a question you ask. You should not ask politicians what have they done, but what will they do? Because there's but so much politicians and individuals who have not been elected into office can do. But let me tell you what Mr. Cummings and I have done so far as private citizens. Keep in mind, Mr. Cummings nor I have ever held government job. No government not give us money. But let me tell you what has happened so far that will benefit Liberians and that benefit Liberians today. Mr. Cummings is the only person running at the national level, the presidential level, who has an established institution of learning. He has a school that he founded, that the Cummings Foundation, Cummings Africa Foundation funds. No other politician has shown their commitment to education like Mr. Cummings has. The men are in government. This is what he has done. He is also one of the highest contributors to institutions of higher learning in Grand Bassa County. In this country. Nimba County, he has contributed. We know that. Universities, he's a contributor to. So education. Number 2, Mr. Cummings is one of the highest employers. He employs a lot of Liberians. He has a commercial and residential unit in Cinco, a big building where he...
A commercial building?
Yes, it's a residential building, but he also, there are people who can use it for commercial purposes, who can rent it, etc. So he's invested in our economy through real estate and his commercial investment. No other presidential has done that. Mr. Cummings is one of the highest donors to our healthcare sector. I can tell you just this, Charlene Brumskin, in June, Mr. Cummings and myself donated $10,000 worth of in-kind, cash, and petroleum products to the government hospital in Grand Bassa County in Buchanan City.
When it was gutted by fire?
Recently in June, when it was first gutted, I donated on my own.
Okay.
That was last year. I donated my own. I think we did.
So in addition, you gave
In
some
addition, we just did it again. 10,000 US. I had some drugs that were brought from Liberia, from the US, some pharmaceutical drugs that were brought. We gave, I think, 500 or 300 gallons worth of fuel. We gave so much money in cash, equaling 10,000 United States dollars to the government hospital. That's what we have done. In my own capacity, I'm one of the highest donors to the government hospital, aside from Mr. Cummings. In Buchanan, we are lighting up Grand Bassa, lighting up Buchanan. We are putting solar lights in some of the darkest areas. Grand Bassa County in 2023 does not have electricity. I always say to the American people, the white people, they're Russian, they're not sending human being to the moon. We cannot get current in Grand Bassa County. I hear they say we're giving current to Ivory Coast.
The president was putting a solar light there before you came. What happened to the solar light? The government
Please tell me, at the government hospital doesn't need solar lights. The government hospital needs electricity. What solar lights will do when you are in
little
labor?
by little.
Hey man, Jallah, stop doing that.
If it is not
Jallah,
possible,
you're not doing good to the Liberian
if it is
people.
not possible, Council, I'm
Stop
just saying,
doing this
if it is
little
not
by
possible
little.
to have it done at once. Now we have
Jallah,
the SLG line coming to Grand Bassa.
Okay.
And that's one of the things the government has done.
When will that happen? When will it happen?
They said
We
it's a
are
process.
in 2023. We gained our independence in
A
1847. We get light in Liberia. Jallah, incident they were talking about. At least say, don't say small. We cannot lower ourselves.
Now. Councillor James,
What's
your party comment?
When the people had different questions.
But
CDC authority in Lofa County. So the CDC giving you the party hard time Lofa, eh? Say your CDC and CBP in Lofa.
Fala there for them. Fala say they will not get plenty vote there. Thomas Fala.
He dealing with UP, eh?
Oh, you're not easy there.
We come here, Papa. Where my friend?
I forgot to ask you. I forgot. Yeah, thought I want to ask whether you put on name your campaign team now.
Yes, we did it Friday.
Yeah, Friday, yeah, but I was like reading something. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. Who else? So, Mr. Wisse Marvelous from Harbel. We didn't really understand your question.
Honorable Brown Tata, I can take your question now, please.
You said Cummings has friends. How does this help? When Mr.
Why
Cummings
is not reaching out to them now to help the country, but you want
because he has reached out to them. They don't have hope. They don't have faith and confidence in investing in this current climate in Liberia. That's why we need to vote the CPP ticket so that people will be able, they have confidence in Councillor Brumskin. I can sit across tables. I can, I speak the diplomatic language when it needs to be spoken. I can ensure and instill confidence in our people. So this is what we need to do. Let me speak to Vafli. This is very important. The disability.
Yeah, please.
We will try to do everything that we can. You can give me his number after to see how we can. And if I'm elected, obviously, thank you. The vice president is the one who sits over the group of 77 and has a mandate.
He's to help immediately.
No, I don't say now two things. One, you give CFAS a number to see what we can do immediately. And number two, my intention is that I will ensure to elevate the plight of the disabled in our country. They have been forgotten for too long. It's the vice president's office that's responsible for that, and we make sure to do that.
Thank you, Councillor. It's been a pleasure having you here on the Bumper Show.
This was great. Thank you, ELBC.
Fixer 1 and Fixer 2.
Fixer 1 and Fixer 2. You're pre-Fixer 2, yeah.
They say where one face.
And no,
when it was where one face now, Charlie.
Thank you, Papa. Thank you. This was great. Thank you, Labira.
Okay. I'm talking Honorable Mervyn Sacco is here already. I'm going to take a water break. When I come back, I usher in my guest. This is ERBC Radio. It was a frank conversation with Councillor Charlie Bromskin, the Vice Tenor Bearer to Alexander Benedict Cummins. She's